Rather than look at the values of individual communities, instead we will consider typical values across a spectrum between more can we do it and should we do it leaning communities. Within the value tensions we shared, the ones on the left side are typically associated with can we do it tech development communities like engineering, business, innovation hubs in Silicon Valley, while the values on the right are typically associated with the should we do it or more tech stewardship leaning communities like philosophy, critical media studies, government, the nonprofit sector, and
Amish.
communities. Can we do it communities tend to spend less time self-reflecting about the values that are dominant within their communities. For the can we do it leading communities, the challenge is to continue leveraging the traditional tech development strengths and values while also becoming more aware of and better integrating the tech stewardship strengths and values of the should we do it communities. Because should we do it leaning communities tend to value critical self-reflection, they are generally more aware of their own dominant values. These communities can leverage this self-awareness as they rise to the challenge of continuing to leverage their traditional tech stewardship strengths and values while better integrating the tech development strengths and values of the can we do it communities. It is important to note that these are merely typical value tensions and value leanings between the can we do it and should we do it communities. These are not hard rules. Many communities don't fall neatly into the left or right column values, but rather have a more complex mix of values. And then on an individual level, it is also common for people to have mixed or even opposite values to a community they belong to. As you manage your career, it is helpful to consider different opportunities and challenges you might face in different communities based on how your values align or don't with the dominant values in that community. For example, maybe you personally lean towards tech development values and you work in a tech development community like engineering or business. In cases such as these, your role could be as an exemplar if you like being able to exemplify and champion dominant values. Although you would likely feel comfortable in this type of environment, your opportunity would be to make space for the complementary interrelated values. And your challenge would be to not become complacent because your values are already being privileged. Or maybe you work in a tech development leaning community, but you personally lean towards tech stewardship values. In cases such as this, your role could be as an illuminator, highlighting and championing neglected values. In so doing, you would have the opportunity to show the potential within these neglected values. However, your challenge would likely be around ensuring your own health and sustainability in an environment where you likely often feel out of place. And finally, maybe you personally tend towards the middle of most tech development and tech stewardship value tensions. In such cases, your role could be as a harmonizer. Leveraging your ability to see both sides of value tensions, your opportunity could be to sense and help rectify when values are being overemphasized or neglected. And your challenge would be not to slip into the comfort of the dominant values or get caught in the middle of arguments. What does it look like when dominant values cloud decision-making? I was once running a workshop and a person from a power company came up to me at one of the early breaks and said something to the effect of, engineers need to get better at communicating so we can help the general public see the right answer for the routing of a new set of power lines running across the province. Curious, I asked some questions to better understand his perspective. To this engineer, the obvious right answer was the one that was more economically efficient and straightforward to build. In comparison, the alternate route prioritized limiting certain environmental and community concerns and risks. Recall that technological stewardship is behavior that ensures technology is beneficial for all. But as this story highlights, benefit for all is dependent on our perspectives and values. Did the engineer in the example have adequate understanding of the environmental and community concerns? If so, how aware was he of his own value leanings, which were clearly influenced by the dominant values in his profession and sector, in proposing what he was convinced was the obvious correct path forward? As people involved in decisions around technology, it's particularly important that we deliberate our own values and the values of others. In this way, we can avoid the mistake the engineer in the story made of believing that decisions made based on his own values are somehow the rational correct decision. Navigating these types of value tensions in our day-to-day work and as we chart our careers is at the heart of the practice of tech stewardship.